So, one of the last things I'm going to talk about Full Gear on this page is how do I think Mark Briscoe's TNT title reign is going to go? Just to get out the way, I think it was a ridiculously great moment that Briscoe won the TNT belt. I think that's been an agenda for a while, and I'm just glad the arena was ridiculously happy with it. Everyone was. I think anyone who wasn't is insane. I will say I was quite surprised they took it off Kyle. A lot of people predicted Briscoe to win. It was a very tight match to predict. But I just think Kyle Fletcher, I don't know, I'm a big Kyle guy. I'm a big Briscoe guy, but I just thought Kyle was going to have that belt for a while. So to take it off him is kind of shocking to me. But I'm going to discuss where I think the belt goes and obviously briefly where does Kyle go. With Briscoe with the belt, I think Briscoe's a reliable guy. You're not going to get a bad match out of Mark Briscoe at all. I think he's consistent, so it's very rare Mark Briscoe's out with injury. And honestly, he's a perfect guy to throw on TV with anyone and get a good match out of it. He's going to be a guy who gets that belt consistently on TV, and pay-per-view is going to deliver, stuff like that. I do hope they give him a lot of more attention than they have with their previous reigns before Kyle, mainly, obviously, Cole and Daniel Garcia. I hope it does keep the momentum that I had with Kyle's reign, because Kyle's reign was phenomenal for me. And I think the people he feuds with, I assume he's going to go straight in with Don Callis family members, because that seems to just be the way with everyone. But I feel like someone like a Josh Alexander or a Hechicero could be a great call. So, even a Mark Davis. Mark Davis is a very interesting, I think that could be his first defense, Mark Davis, especially with how Mark Davis showed out in the Casino Gauntlet match on Full Gear. But then also has the link with Kyle to kind of avenge it. But, it's a good title defense because they had that match on Collision the week before Full Gear. I don't want it to linger on the Don Callis family, unless it's like they're going to go straight up, we're going to just drop it to someone in the family again, which I'm kind of not against that. But I feel like there's so many people out there you could have good matches with on a Collision, right? So, some names I'm thinking of, someone like a Roosh. Roosh is a great call. A Shibata, Hobbs, the Ops are a great call to have. Obviously, someone like a Yuta, a Daniel Garcia again, even though that reign didn't go well, I wouldn't be against that. Honestly, the more I think about it, the mid-card's really full of faces, so if we can get some heels in there, that could be great. I feel like the faces... The problem is with Mark Briscoe is he's friends with near enough everyone, right? So if you give him someone like... I know Roddy doesn't want to be in the conglomeration. Roddy could be, and I wouldn't be against. I think Roddy's a great call to have a little TNT feud, because you still got this open end with who actually attacked Briscoe at Full Gear. Well, not at Full Gear, sorry. At the Blood and Guts, because Don Callis and Kyle confirmed it was not them. So, could it still be Roddy? Could they be turning Roddy heel? That's not out the question. I kind of like that. I think if they turned Roddy heel, that's the guy to lose it to. And then, after that, we set up the ultimate Kyle O'Reilly title reign against Roddy. I would love that. I think that's a great direction to go. Do I think it'll happen? The more I think about it, I think that could. I think that's a good pathway to go. You could get a big Kyle win, a great Roddy reign too, like he had with the international title. That could be a good match. And the last time Roddy and Kyle faced each other, I'm sure, was the Dynasty match when Kyle returned, and that was excellent. I really enjoyed that. Another name I'd like to throw in there, who I'd like to see win that belt, but also, honestly, I just want to see belted up, is Bandido. I don't think Bandido will. I think Bandido will be on to bigger things. I'll talk about Bandido himself in another video and what I think his direction is. As a match, whatever Briscoe does is going to be great, especially with Roddy. I think that, honestly, the more I think about it, that could be the way to go. You could have little small... Because the thing is, with the conglomeration, most of their members are really solid mid-carders, so they could have multiple, candidates for the TNT belt, so it could be fun to see, Mark Briscoe go against those guys and still be respectful and still have the heels going in. I think Roddy's a great call. I think Roddy's a great call to dethrone Mark, but when does that happen? I don't know. I don't want Briscoe to lose at World's End. This is the problem with the Full Gear title wins. The Full Gear title wins are so good, and you don't want any of them to lose at World's End, right? It doesn't feel right. But, it just feels weird. I don't know. It's a very hard call for when these new champs are going to lose, and it feels too early to call that. But I always like just think in that direction. Where do we go? Just to sum it up, I think Briscoe's reign will be great. I think it'll be phenomenal. I think matches will be just solid as ever. I mean, who doesn't expect that? If you don't expect that from Briscoe by now, I just don't think you watch AEW. Briefly, I want to talk about where does Kyle go, because obviously we know Kyle's confirmed for the Continental Classic, and I don't think he'll win. But I personally think it's not out the question that Kyle goes, because I don't think Kyle is going to go straight into the main event scene, although I wouldn't be against that. But I don't think Kyle could. I think Kyle could come back and regain that belt, and don't know how long that'll take. But the problem is, in AEW, there's no international scene now. So the only real scenes you've got in singles men's competition is the main event, which is the AEW Men's World Championship, the TNT belt, and now the Unified belt, and obviously Continental Classic. The Unified belt is apparently a good midpoint between the mid card in the mid card, like just above the TNT belt, below the World belt. I think Kyle could challenge for that, and I wouldn't be against that, especially how they handle him and Takeshita and Okada. Takeshita could obviously dethrone Okada, and Kyle goes for it. That's a good, avenue for that. I wouldn't be against that. But I don't think it's out the question he is out the TNT scene. I think he'll be absent from it now. It feels this could all be a way to just write Kyle off so the TNT belt isn't stagnated during the Continental Classic, which I'm not against. But it was fine when Garcia did it. But that was bad booking, so I kind of get that. But I don't think anyone would have had a problem if Kyle kept that reign during the Continental Classic. And Eddie did it the first year where he defended the belts and stuff. So I thought that was fun. Either way, whatever Kyle does, I think everyone's got solid confidence that whatever it is, it's going to be great. Kyle Fletcher's just insanely talented. And back onto the main topic, Mark Briscoe is just such a reliable guy, such a deserving guy is the main point. So deserving of that belt. And I'm looking forward to this reign. This is not a reign where I expect to go on for over a year, a long reign. This is going to be a short, fun reign. It's going to be like Joe's first reign, or even Swerve's world reign. I think Swerve's, when you look back at Swerve's reign, or even Brian's, it's just going to be a great reign. It doesn't really matter about length in terms of, how it feels. I've said that a lot of times. But, seriously, the point is, it's just going to be great. It's going to be a fun reign, and it's going to be memorable, right? And I think that's the main thing with someone like a Briscoe. Whatever he does, it's going to be memorable. Promos, matches especially. I really can't hammer that point in anymore. Briscoe's matches. And the feuds are always interesting. I'm going to predict it's Roddy who is his main feud, and Roddy will dethrone him, just because I think that makes sense with the loose end with who had actually attacked him. I think they'll play into that a lot more. And honestly, sets up the Kyle win, which Kyle winning any belt's got to be one of the top agendas by now. So I'm obviously excited for Briscoe's reign and just, everything about it. What do you think? Were you happy with Briscoe winning? Did you want Kyle to continue? What do you think Briscoe... And who do you think will dethrone Briscoe and stuff? What do you think? So, really looking forward to hear the responses to this one.